Well, good morning, everybody. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. Let me know if you can't. Um, Welcome to the few of you guys that are on. I just wanted to dive into the Mavic Mini launch. All right, so yeah, unfortunately, my mic. I've got to replace my mic. Sorry about that, guys. Um, Hopefully, you can hear me now. Uh, uh, the cable is touchy for some reason, so hello. Yeah, okay. So I think it's good now. Let me know if it's not working for you guys. And okay, thanks. Thanks for sticking with me, guys. Appreciate it. So I just thought I'd start talking a little bit about the Mavic Mini. I know there's been a ton of leaks out there, and I've kind of tried to stay a little bit silent about it. But I think that we know a lot about it. But I guess we'll see what DJI puts out here in just a few minutes. But I think everybody assumes that it's going to be, the under 250 grams, which is a great thing. But I don't know that it's as great as maybe we first thought. I'm not sure that the registration issue is such a big deal, at least here in the US. I know for different countries, and I don't really know all the rules for a lot of different countries, but here in the US, we have kind of that 250 gram level that a lot of people are talking about. So the FAA defines that anything under 0.55 pounds is actually how the FAA defines it. You don't have to register your drone with the FAA. So that's a good thing if you're somebody who's new to the hobby. You're not going to have to go out and register and spend $5 and put your name into the list and all that kind of stuff. If you're talking about me, Nick, sounds like you have one already. No, I don't. I don't have one. I'm gonna order one here in about 10 minutes when hopefully it opens up on the DJI store. So let's see. So what all do we know about the Mavic Mini? I mean, we know is what we've seen in all the leaks, and let me just try and pull up some of those. Now, one of the biggest leaks was, of course, this one just right here recently from Newegg, and hopefully you guys can see this. Let me switch this over, and this came from Newegg Canada, and we saw a similar leak with similar details from Best Buy about a week before this, and it says 249 grams ultralight, 30 minutes max flight time, 4 kilometer HD video transmission, vision sensor plus GPS precise hover, 3-axis gimbal, 2.7K camera, and simplified recording and editing. And this is very similar to what we saw from Best Buy. Let me see if I can go find the leak that we had from Best Buy about. Here, let me find that one. Pull that one up for you guys. So, where's the details on that one? Yeah, so here we'll zoom in on this a little bit. So you'll see that this is actually from Best Buy. This leak right here, these product specs, and this is very similar to what we saw with the. This is very similar to what we saw from the Newegg Canada one. Now there's so I think this is pretty accurate. So why is the 249 grams special? Again, it's really because a lot of countries around the world have laws that start above 249 grams here, or above 250 grams, which is 0.55 pounds. And here in the US, it just means you don't have to register the drone. But for somebody who already has a bigger drone, this probably isn't such a big deal, because if you're a recreational pilot, you've probably already registered. If you're a Part 107 commercial pilot, then you've already gone through this process. So this is not really such a big deal. And John Rocker, yes, I will definitely be reviewing it, but I've got to order it just like everybody else. I don't have one. So I've got to put my order in here in just a few minutes as well. So the 250 grams is, it's awesome, and it's going to help out some people, but here in the US, it's maybe not such a big deal as maybe some people have been making it, because of the fact that you still have to follow all of the FAA rules. You still have to follow the fact that you can't fly above 400 feet, or those basic rules. You can't fly it in over an airport and things like that. You've got to follow all the FAA rules that are already in place. The only thing you don't have to do is you don't have to register it. And if you're a recreational pilot, you've got other drones already, you've probably already done that registration process, and so you don't have to register each individual drone anyway. So that's not such a big deal. But for somebody who's new to the hobby, then maybe it is. Maybe it's nice not to have to spend those $5. It's nice not to have to put a label on it. It's nice not have to worry about that. But it doesn't mean that you don't have to follow the rules. You still have to follow all of the FAA rules in terms of where you can fly and visual line of sight and all those sorts of things. Now, the 30-minute max flight time, I think really where that comes from, and I wasn't surprised to see this. Some of the early leaks were talking about 18-minute flight time, and that just didn't sit right with me. That didn't seem like it would be right, because that's really close to what the Spark was 2.5 years ago. So I expected that to be much higher, with just in terms of technology progressing along. So the 30 minutes max flight time, I'm going to be interested to see what that really means in the real world in terms of, actual flight time. Is that going to be closer to 20 in real time, or what's that going to be? And I'll just throw in the chat here. There's a link here that's just going to take you to the DJI store. If you're planning to buy something from DJI today or in the next week or so, I would really appreciate if you guys would use that affiliate link that I just provided in the chat. It's also clear at the top if you want to find it up there as well. It just takes you to the DJI store, and so let's see, is it in the DJI store yet? Hey, it is in the DJI store. So let's go take a look at what is in the DJI store. So we'll see on the screen here. Hopefully you guys can see this. Mavic Mini, the everyday fly cam. Fly as you are. And this is their new terminology. They're calling it a fly cam. Let me go back. Hopefully you guys can see that. Yep. So let's click on that and go in and see what the details are there. So they list out, what do they list out? So in the box, you get an aircraft, a remote controller. One of the things that I don't see on there, and I never saw on any of the leaked images, is I don't see a sport mode button. So is there going to be a sport mode? That's going to be interesting. So how fast is the Mavic Mini going to fly? One of the things that they did with the DJI Spark when it came out was that they kind of artificially dumbed it down in terms of the software and what it could do. It had a lot more capabilities built into it in terms of the physical hardware that's there that they didn't really give you access to. It really did have the ability to fly much faster than they allowed you to do. It had a lot of other capabilities that they kind of held back within the software. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with the Mavic Mini. So we get in the box, we get an aircraft remote controller, one battery, some spare props, a micro USB cable, some extra cables for connecting your phone to your to the remote controller, an extra pair of sticks, which is nice. You know, they introduced this capability for the remote controller to remove the sticks with the Mavic Air, and that's very nice for making it so you can pack it in much easier. So let's take a look and see. Let's just go to the DJI. Do they have a Mavic Mini page? We go. Oh, that's not there yet. So yeah, there's not a lot of details. So let's do the overview. See the overview is not available yet. So hopefully they get that published here shortly. Let's take a look at the Fly More combo here and see what all is included in that. And you can see, let's see, in the box for this, you get 3 flight batteries, you get more propellers, you got 2 micro USB cables, view more here, and then you got the prop guards, which this is an interesting design. This is a bit different design for the prop guards. It looks like it covers a little bit more over the top as well. You also get a charging hub, an 18-watt USB charger, and then a carrying bag. So that's one of the things to keep in mind, is that it looks like it's going to be charged via USB as opposed to a more kind of proprietary charger. I think that you're going to be able to charge a battery directly in the drone is my expectation, as well as using the 2-way charging hub here. So you'll be able to insert 2 of these batteries into this charging hub. So instead of being able to charge like 3 or 4 batteries, like some of the older chargers, it looks like it's going to have 2. And then I kind of like this carrying bag. I can't see any more of the details here, but let me see if I can find. Let me see if I can find more of the. Where was it? There was details from a previous leak. And here, let me show you this. This is what the drone looks like with... This is what the drone looks like with the prop guards installed on it. And so you can see that there's the previous prop guards on previous DJI drones didn't really cover over the top of them. And so this one, it looks like there's the cage kind of goes over the top of the propellers as well. So if you fly up into something, or, you know, just is going to protect from more angles. But what I was looking for, I'm not seeing in my files. And here's another image of a different angle with it there as well. Let me go back and so let me take a look in the chat, see what you guys are saying so far. So let's see. So hey Cardoso, good to see you. Perth West Oz RC, good to see you. Nick bought it already. That's awesome. AJ Alvarez, $4.99 for the combo. Just bought it. 4 is the limit. So that's what I need to do is I need to, where's my phone? I need to go buy it myself while I'm sitting here talking with you guys. So let's see, who else we got in here? We have any other questions? They have a video up now. So let me, so what do you guys think of what you see so far? Everything that I've seen so far basically looks like what the leaks were looking like. Is the Mavic Mini page up yet? I still don't see. Coming soon, it still says on the DJI page. So let me go to the DJI store, and I'm going to order this while I'm talking with you guys. So I'll just keep reminding that that it still means that you have to. It doesn't mean that you don't have to follow the rules just because it's under the 249 or under the 250 gram So I'm going to add to the cart there. So yeah, so it's $3.99 for the Mavic Mini, and just by itself, and $4.99 for the for that. So we can go ahead and play this little show reel here. I don't know if you guys can hear that. So this is what they've got going on. So are you guys gonna buy the just the Fly More combo, or what are you guys looking to buy? Yeah, so did you see that? Let's go back and look. Right there. So that is not DJI Go 4, is it? I think this is a new app, DJI Fly. So what do you guys think about that? Am I seeing that wrong? Do you see that on the screen there? In just a few taps. So this is what I was thinking, was that based on the Best Buy leak, they had talked about a DJI Fly app, and so yeah, so that's interesting. Whether you're going to be able to use DJI Go or not for this. So I'm just putting in my order right now on my phone. Hopefully I can get this done without too many problems. So yeah, so let me go ahead and keep playing this through so you guys can see that.
I am looking for attention. I don't need the extra tension, cause I'm in the fourth dimension. Trapeze high in suspension. Now don't bother with the haters, cause they all be imitators. Real life manipulators. Get fit back up and see you later. I like me for me. I'ma be what I'ma be. I like me for me. I am who I wanna be. Don't need no apologies, just peace and serenity. No thought to the jealousy. Wonder Woman identity. I like me for me. I like me for me. Head over heels, you know how that feels.
Just kind of your standard marketing materials there. Attention. I don't need the extra tension, cause I'm in the fourth dimension. Trapeze high in suspension. Now don't bother with the haters, cause they all be imitators. Real life manipulators. Yeah, so see, check out that stand there. That's one of the things I'm going to be interested in. Let me go back and take a look at that. Is the accessories. Did I get that? See that right there? So this is one of the things that I think they're doing differently, and I'm not sure what this stand is, but this looks like a charging stand, which kind of seems kind of, I don't know, interesting. I'm not sure what to think of this charging stand here. But also look at the, they're showing different stickers or skins or whatever. So unlike the Spark and the Mavic Air, which they sold in various different colors, they're going to be, they're making it in that battleship gray. I don't know what other color to call that, but they're making it in that battleship gray. And then they are going to, they're going to be selling stickers and skins for you to be able to customize it right out of the store. So here, let's see, what's this Mavic Mini Creative here? Mavic Mini DIY Creative Kit. So if we look at this, we can see, yeah, so this is make your own, right? This is paint by colors or paint by numbers or whatever. They have stickers here. You can color them up and then put them on your drone. So that's what they're doing there. So rather than giving you different colors, they're letting you be able to color it yourself. So, you know, I've never been a sticker guy. I don't care what it looks like for the most part, you know, as long as it doesn't look terrible. But I kind of wish it was black, because that's easier for me to see in the sky than the lighter colors. So I don't know, maybe I'll end up doing something with it. What do you guys think about this in terms of the stickers and that kind of stuff, and coloring it and so on? Let's see, what else? So that was the Mini DIY Creative, and that is $15 for that. we take a look here, we can see again these we've already seen. If you've been looking on the internet and following the leaks, all of these are the same images that have been pushed out there for a couple weeks now, or at least a week now. So the other thing is that, and I'm just going to put this link. Oh, I'm going to put this link back in so that you guys can go get the details here. And this is my affiliate link. If you guys are interested in buying it, I'd really appreciate it if you guys use that link. Helps me to be able to do stuff like this. Anyway, so let's see. I'm gonna go to the chat and see what you guys are saying. Yeah, so Doug Crum, I see you say maybe the general public will not be quite as intimidated by the smaller Mini. Yeah, it's one of those things that when you're out and about and you see other people, if you got a big massive drone up in the air, they're going to be a bit more intimidated by it, I think, and they're going to maybe think that you're a bit more serious about things. Having a small Mini, when I'm flying my Spark, for instance, or even the Mavic Air, although the Mavic Air is really loud, which brings me to a point that I was wanting to make is, one of my questions really is, will this, what's this going to look like in terms of, what's it going to sound like? Is it going to be super loud like the Mavic Air? Is it going to be quieter? That's going to be one of the big pieces that I think is going to be part of the success or not success, I guess, whether it's going to be successful or not. Let's see. Perth, yeah, looks kind of toyish, and so that's less likely for people to think that you're doing something bad for some reason. I don't know why the size, but that certainly does seem to be kind of my experience as well. John Rocker 340. I don't think DJI, in terms of doing a streamed product or release, I think they only do it for what they consider kind of their big. Imagine if they do another Mavic 2 or a Mavic 2 replacement or some sort of that level of a drone. I think they'll probably do an event for it. But I think for the smaller drones and the smaller products, I think that they've kind of decided it's probably not worth it for them to do that. Lino PR, let's go Skydio 2. You know what? I've got an order in for one of those, and that is the drone that I'm super excited about it. I am excited for the Mavic Mini. I've really enjoyed the Spark. I started out with the Spark is how I kind of got into this hobby. So the Skydio 2, I think, is the game changer. So I'm really excited about that. Hopefully I'll be putting out a video soon about my thoughts on the Skydio 2, just from what we know about it now without having touched it yet. Let's see, Nick ordered the Fly More package. So did I. Gonna sell your Spark. You know what? I probably should sell my Spark. I don't fly it hardly very often, but I think it's kind of nostalgia for me. So I think I'll probably keep holding on to it, but I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. So camera is way better. Yeah, I think it's going to be better than the Spark for sure. I think you got 2.5 years for one thing of new technology. You've got 2.7K versus the 1080p. That's one of the things that I'm interested in seeing. Have they published those details yet? So do they have... Okay, so yes, it's on the store. I want to know... I just want to go to... Is DJI... Let me go to DJI.com. Do they have the marketing page there yet? There it is, Mavic Mini. So let's go and look. One of the specs, one of the things I want to look at is the specs here, right? So they say 249 grams. Now, I hate to keep going back to this, but this is one of the biggest selling points, and this is one of the biggest things everybody keeps talking about is the size of it, the weight, right? It's under that 250 grams. But as soon as you put anything on it, you're going to be over that limitation. So let me see if I can find. So for the FAA, they say specifically your takeoff If you put anything on the drone, you're going to be bumping up to that 250 gram level. And sure, is anybody really going to be weighing it? Probably not. But if you put lenses on it, right? You put ND filters on it. You put any accessories on it, and it's going to be over that 250 grams. So that's something to keep in mind. If you want to follow the rules to the T, and I know a lot of people don't, miles an hour, right? But, if you go over that 250 gram level, then you officially have to have it registered. So if you start putting ND filters on it, you start putting, legs on it to get it up out of the grass, you start putting any other accessories on it, you're going to be over that 250 grams. So technically speaking, based on the rules, if you want to follow the rules to a T, you will be over that 250 grams, I think. Let's see. So max ascent speed, 4 meters per second. Descent speed, max speed. So what is 13 meters per second? This is sport mode. So 13 meters per second. Let's just ask our friend Google. 2 miles per hour. So that's 30 miles an hour in sport mode, which is not bad, right? Not bad at all. Let's go back, and in P mode, it's 8 meters per second. So let's ask Google what 8 meters per second is. Ooh, what did I just do? 8 meters per second in normal position mode is about 18 miles an hour, just under 18 miles an hour. So that's something to keep in mind, right? So with the Mavic 2 Pro, Mavic 2 Zoom, the Mavic 2 platform, just in regular position mode, it does 30 miles an hour. So, if it's one of those things that you like high dynamic videos where you're really being able to get some movement in your videos, sometimes it's nice to do slow and slow. I do a lot of different types of videography and photography. For photography, the speed isn't so much an issue, but for videography, speed sometimes can be an issue. Right, if you're covering a lot of ground and a lot of movement, you're covering a cityscape and wanting to get some movement in your video, then the speed, is nice to be able to do 30 miles an hour in full stabilized P mode with a Mavic 2. 18 miles an hour maybe on the slow side for what you're wanting to do. But if you're doing like wedding videography, like I've been doing, I've done quite a few videos for weddings lately. Not the ceremony itself, but kind of the setup. And a lot of wedding videography is nice, slow movements, right? Nice and slow and gentle and calm. And so the speed doesn't matter there. But then the question becomes is once you throw it into sport mode, how much is that gimbal going to be flopping around? A lot of the drones, you put it in sport mode and you hammer it forward, the camera has to drop down. Or like the Spark, when you put it in sport mode, it's basically an FPV mode where the camera tilts with the drone. So it'll be interesting to see how this works out. Let's see, what else do we have? 8 meters per second is the max speed resistance. What else do we have? Anything else in here? The camera's the thing that I really wanted to come to. See, the sensing system is another thing in here. There is no forward vision sensing. There's no obstacle avoidance. It's just looking down for the ground, but there's no forward obstacle avoidance sensor. So that's going to be, is that going to be an issue for new people flying, right? The sensors have stopped a lot of crashes for a lot of people. So, that's one of the markets that this Mavic Mini is going for is new pilots, right? New people, first-time flyers of drones. So having that obstacle avoidance system is really nice to have for new people. Now let's look in here. This is where I was looking for max video bit rate is 40 megabits per second. Now, a lot of people are going to point to that and say, well, it's not 100 megabits per second like the Mavic 2 Pro and the Mavic 2 Zoom and a lot of other drones that are out there. But keep in mind, that's at 4K. That's not the same number that you get if you put your Mavic 2 Pro into 2.7K video, so not the full 4K. At 2.7K, you're going to get something less than 100 megabits per second, and I think it may be closer to about 50 megabits per second, if I remember correctly, for 2.7K on the Mavic 2 Pro. So this isn't that far off of that. And keep in mind that the original Mavic Pro was 60 megabits per second at 4K. So keep that in mind. The 40 megabits per second for 2.7K is not all that bad. Now this is the other thing that I was really wanting to look at, was that on the Spark, it could only do 30p. 30 frames per second was the only thing it could do. And for those of you outside of the US, especially in Europe, of course 25p, 25 frames per second is kind of the standard in Europe and pretty much outside of the US. And so the fact that they've included 25 here and not just 30 is a good thing for a lot of people. The other thing is in full HD, you do get up to the 60 frames per second. So that's a step up from the Spark. The Spark could only do 1080p and 720p, I think. Actually, I don't even know if it could do that. I think it was just straight up 1080p regardless second. So anyways, that I'm happy to see that. So this gives us some options to do maybe some slow mo stuff, or to be able to take our 60 frame per second full HD, and be able to put it on a slower timeline and be able to do slow motion. It also allows us to be able to catch, maybe you're doing you're filming some action sports, and being able to use a 60 frame per second timeline is very useful for that. All right, so let's see. So it looks like they've only got H.264, which is to be expected. I didn't expect them to do H.265 on this, because keep in mind, this is DJI's entry level drone. This is all about getting in the door, getting people like myself into the hobby, and kind of sucking them in, and then this is kind of their gateway product. And just like the auto industry or a lot of different industries, they have different segments, right? You have your small car segment, your medium car segment, your big car segment. You have different segments, and they target products to specific prices and to some specific features of that. And I think that the design brief for this product, the Mavic Mini, was to target that $400 price point, and to target that $400 price point, and the 250 gram. Man, I can't even talk today. Sorry, guys. So the 250 gram weight limit, to keep it under that for regulations around the world, as well as the $400 price point. All right, so I'm going to switch over and take a quick look at the at what you guys are having to say. Let's see. So what do you guys have to say? So we've got... So Nick, you're saying 30-minute flight time is going to be realistically 25, but that's better than the Spark. Yeah, for sure. The Spark realistically was maybe 12 if you were pushing it hard. Intel Maxell multi-rotors, it is a toy. Yeah, but you can get some good stuff out of it, right? You can get some good stuff out of it. It's the starter, right? It's the starter drone. It's the beginner drone. It's the budget drone. It's definitely not the Mavic 2 Pro. It's not going to have OcuSync for being able to go out miles away. It's not going to have all the features, because you're not paying $1,500, $2,000 for it. Let's see. Yeah, I don't even know how much to tell you, Nick, for how much to try and sell a Spark for. I haven't been paying attention to that. Yeah, John Rocker, see how loud it is. Definitely. That's one of the questions, how it flies. I think it's going to fly well. I think it's just going to be slower than some of their higher end drones, and I think it'll do surprisingly well. One of the questions a lot of people have out there about small drones is how much to get pushed around in a wind. So that's certainly going to be a big question around this. How much is the wind going to affect it? And hopefully with the 3-axis gimbal, even if it's kind of getting pushed around and whatever in the wind, it's going to be able to create some stable footage for you. So let's hope that's the case. I can't wait to be able to test that out myself. Nick's good to see you. Take care, man. New app for all drones or just the Mavic Mini? I don't know the answer for that for sure, John Rocker, but my guess is that it's just going to be the Mavic Mini for now, and maybe future drones, maybe they will have it. Let me go out and see if they've published that in the App Store yet. They may not publish it until they put it. So until they put it into, until we get it in our hands, for sure. Let's see. What was I looking for? So, DJI Go, DJI Fly app, Apple App Store. Yeah, let's see. So this is DJI Fly. Nope, I don't see it there yet. Scroll through the app. Yeah, so it does say app here, DJI Fly, iOS or Android. So it will be interesting to play around with that, see what they have in there, what they don't have in there, and so on. So that will certainly be interesting to see what they've got, how that works, how well that works. I really think that they are planning on probably future drones, at least some of the. I wouldn't be surprised if the future Mavic Air doesn't use this. One of the reasons I say that is that if you look at what they had done with DJI Go, not DJI Go 4, DJI Go used to be the app that you used for their gimbal tools, like the original DJI Osmo and the original Osmo Mobile 2 and the original Osmo Mobile were using the DJI Go app. And with the Osmo Pocket, I think that they released the Mimo app, and then so that uses it, the Action uses it, and the Osmo Mobile 3 uses the Mimo app. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do kind of something similar. They're trying to refresh their technology, and maybe DJI Go 4 is getting a bit unwieldy. I don't know. Or maybe they'll keep the DJI Fly app just for their kind of starter drones, their beginner drones, to kind of help keep the interface simplified and easy to use. And that may be what they end up doing. It would be great to be able to use either one, so that you can use either the easier to use interface or the more advanced interface. Is this much better than the Spark? I think it's going to be better, quite a bit better than the Spark. I mean, you got 2.5 years of technology that's come along to make it better. The camera's going to be better because it's going to be on a 3-axis gimbal, so it's going to be. One of the things with the Spark was that the gimbal controlled and smoothed out movements forward and backwards, right, up and down this way. It smoothed out movements this way, but it didn't really. It used electronic stabilization for movement in this direction, and it was good, but it wasn't fantastic. A lot of people gave advice when using the Spark and taking video that you didn't want to do yaw movements while you're a bit rough if you did some of those movements, and that was because of the electronic stabilization. So I would think that even if they did a 2-axis gimbal on this, which they didn't, it's a 3-axis gimbal, so it should have some help stabilizing that yaw movements. Should be better. But just because they've got 2.5 years of technology development for electronic stabilization, look at what they've done with the Osmo Action, and the stabilization they have there with their Rocksteady is amazing. So I think that the gimbal is going to be better. I think that having the 2.7K for video is going to be great in terms of comparing it to the Spark. Yeah, it's not 4K, but it's also not going to be the same size of images, same size of videos, right? 4K video files can get pretty big and use up a lot of storage. So if you're just getting started in the hobby and just, you're not really like all in and you're not doing professional stuff and things like that, do you really want those huge files clogging up your hard drives and stuff. So that's 2.7K is kind of that good kind of mid ground. It also gives you the ability with 2.7K. A lot of people still consume most of their YouTube content on their phone or on a tablet, and so with that you're consuming it in 1080p. So do you really need even above 1080p? Do you need the 2.7K? I personally like to record on a higher resolution, even if I know I'm going to be delivering in a smaller resolution. So, some of the wedding videographers that I work with to do wedding videos, they publish all of their stuff in 1080p is what they give out. That's their deliverable to their customers, and and so that's actually what I end up providing them. But I like to record it most of the time in 4K because it gives you some ability to be able to do cropping, to give you that ability to kind of reposition and recompose and stuff if that's something you're interested in. And then, like I said, 2.5 years newer technology. Hopefully, they've the Spark has always had a lot of issues around compass problems, which have caused a lot of people to lose their drones. Thankfully, DJI has covered a lot of them under warranty, but so hopefully their technology there is a bit better. The Spark was, I think, DJI's first drone that only had one compass in it, and it didn't have any sort of a backup system. Like the Mavic Air has one compass in it, but it has a visual compass in it as well, which kind of is able to track objects so it knows whether it's turning or not. So I don't want to get into the technical details around that, but yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how it all works out. Let's see, Gareth. Hey, Gareth, good to see you. I haven't talked with you in a long time. Bridge drone. What do you mean by that? Yeah, and John, yeah, it'll be great size for travel, so for sure. AC drone dude, David, did you figure out if it has front-facing obstacle avoidance? No, it does not have front-facing obstacle avoidance. If we look at the sensing system, the details here, it says that it just has a downward. There's no front-facing. There's no object avoidance at all for it. So yeah. So that's. I think that's part of their, they had to get that to that 250 gram level, stay below that, and they had to get to the $400 level. So I don't know if you remember, but when the Spark first came out, I think it was quite a bit more than the $400 that this Mavic Air or this Mavic Mini is. And so I think to get it to those levels in terms of the pricing and in terms of the weight, they just had to cut out the obstacle avoidance, and to also kick up that battery time, right? The flight time up to 30 minutes from 18 minutes. I think that they really had to get rid of that, so you're not consuming resources for those cameras for that, and the processing of that is really going to help that out. And quite honestly, I think that looking at the drone, they took a Parrot Anafi and they looked at it and they said, wow, look at what these guys are doing. Maybe we should. What can we learn from that? And let's go take a look at. Let's go find. Let me go back to this. Where do we have it at? So if we look at that, we look at the pictures of it. Let me find some pictures of it on here. Are they going to show? Okay, so So one of the things that a lot of people have commented on is the propellers, right? So the propellers. Why did they go with the easily twist, or sorry, the twist on propellers, right? That's been a feature of pretty much all of DJI's drones for quite a while, is the twist on propellers. Why did they go with these screw-in propellers? And the reason for that really is twofold. I think it's cheaper for them to make these, right? There's not as many components, there's not as much stuff and engineering that really goes into it. And secondly is weight. Going back to that 250 gram limit, the weight is really going to be an issue. Um, so so I don't, I've changed my propellers on my drones maybe a couple of times in the last 2.5 years. It's not something that I do very often. So if I have to go pull out a screwdriver to change them, it's really not a huge deal. In my opinion, right? I know for some people it is, but you've got folding propellers. For like the Phantom, right? The ones that don't fold, and don't come compact up with the body and so on when you fold it up. It can be a bigger issue. If you have to use some sort of a physical mechanism, a screwdriver to get them on and off. But if you're not having if you're not crashing your drone, you're not having to change your propellers. So it's really not a big deal if you have to take a few extra seconds. Although you do have to find you do have to find a Phillips screwdriver, of course. But yeah. So, anyways, I think this is a great idea, and this is something that I think that they looked at the Paradenofi and they said, "Oh, hey, that's actually a good idea," because the Paradenofi is one of the big things with the Paradenofi when it first came out. I think it's only like 320 grams, if I remember right. And one of the ways they did that was exactly like they're doing here with these propellers. Once you start getting down to those minuscule weights, every little gram, every little fraction of a gram, I'm sure really matters in terms of the engineering. So the other thing is these arms are pretty skinny, they're pretty small. So it'll be interesting to see if you have a minor scuffle with a tree or something like that. How sturdy are they going to be? How much is it? Are they going to break easily and so on? That's one of the things about the Spark was the arms were actually pretty strong for such a small drone. The Spark's only 300 grams. It's only 50 grams more than this, but 50 grams, relatively speaking, is a pretty significant part of that weight. So yeah, interesting. Anyways, Edwin, geofencing, that is a very good question. I don't know the answer to that for sure at this point, but my answer is I think that DJI is 1,000,000% into geofencing. If you follow DJI closely at all, they are actually lobbying the U.S. Congress and FAA and stuff for other companies to have to do geofencing as well. They are 1,000,000% in on geofencing. They feel like it's important for the perception of the industry, for the safety of the industry, and I think that they feel like that's the reason why their drones haven't really been involved in very many high-profile incidences. Any where there's been some that I would be shocked if. John Rocker, is it the same Wi-Fi as the Air, or have they improved it? I live in a city and I'm lucky to get half a mile before transmission starts to fade. I think it's going to be very similar to the Air. I would be surprised if it's much better. I hope it's at least as good as the Air, and hopefully a little bit better. But I think it's basically the same technology. I mean, it's a year newer, so hopefully they've done something to improve it. But I think it's going to be in the same ballpark as that. It's not going to be anywhere near OcuSync with the Mavic 2 platform, which is just a whole new ball game. It's a whole different level. You can get objects between you and so on. With the Mavic Air and the Spark, and I imagine with the Mavic Mini, you're very likely going to have to make sure you keep a direct line of sight between the remote control and your aircraft. Like the flat side of this is a smart controller, but you'll have to keep the flat side of your antenna face directly at the aircraft. So if the aircraft is over there, you want to keep the flat side pointed at it. If you move over here, you want to keep it at over here. So that's really important on the Wi-Fi drones, is making sure that you're keeping the antenna pointed directly at it. Yeah, one of the things with the Wi-Fi drones is that they don't have great range. You're not going to be able to get them out of visual line of sight. Most countries, that of course, the regulations are visual line of sight, but and I have a video out there. I haven't done any distance tests since, but shortly after I got my Spark about 2.5 years ago, I did a distance test and I got at 1.78 miles. Now that was, not in a city for sure. That was out on a farm with absolutely nothing around. And I wouldn't necessarily recommend, people doing that. But it's something I did do, and I have a video about. But these drones can get out there. They're just a bit more susceptible to interference. And in the U.S., you're going to be able to get better range than you are in most other countries. Here in the U.S., we have every country around the world missions, and here in the U.S., the FCC is the body, the governing body that controls that and sets the limitations. And their limitations here in the U.S. are much more generous than they are, for instance, in Europe and in most countries around the world. So you can actually, your remote controls can, and the drones themselves can actually broadcast at a higher strength here in the U.S. So if you're outside of the U.S., then you got a bit more limitations. And the 5 gigahertz spectrum is a bit more limited in a lot of countries, especially in Europe, than it is here in the U.S. So we've got a little bit better than some of you guys do outside of the U.S. in terms of the Wi-Fi drones. But they're still not OcuSync. I mean, let's just be honest with it. Let's see. Tried hardwiring it. Let's see. Try again. Search DJI Mavic Mini drone specs. First look B&H has a video. Yep. Nick says range is not an issue for me. I never let it go more than a quarter mile away. Yeah, I mean, there's different people want to use drones in different ways. Some people want to send it 18 miles away, and if they can't, then they're disappointed. Again, I drive, I don't always drive 55 miles an hour when the speed limit says 55, but, so sometimes it may or may not get a little bit beyond visual line of sight, but, try not to, too often, try and be as safe as I can. So most of the time, the Air and the Spark haven't been an issue for me. I've gotten pretty good, service out of them, but, it certainly is not anything like the Mavic 2 with its OcuSync 2.0, which is just amazing. You can put, a house between you and the drone and, still have perfectly good reception, where with the Mavic Air and the Spark, you just really can't do that. You can't really count on having a good signal. So it'll be interesting to see how well that Mavic Mini. So let's see. Uh-oh. Guess my camera died out, huh? Alrighty, guys. Well, I guess that's about it. I'm interested to go out and watch some more of the videos for me. If you do see... or if you do decide to buy a Mavic Mini or any other DJI drone, I would really appreciate if you would hit up the affiliate link that I've put at the very top of this chat stream. It helps me out to be able to afford to do reviews of products and give you guys as much info as I can, give you guys tutorials and so on. So yeah, appreciate it. Hope you guys have a great day. I'm going to go out and watch a few more videos, start getting a bit more information, and yeah, so hope you guys have a great one. Get out and go fly it, and we'll catch you on another one soon. Take care, guys.